Hello, one and all, and welcome to D&D Celebrations Rime of the Frost Maiden. We're going to be jumping into an adventure today with a bunch of D&D luminaries. My name is Brennan Lee Mulligan. I'm your humble dungeon master. I am so excited to be playing with these wonderful folks today. Before we go ahead and introduce them all, we all want to give a shout out to LaTia Jacquiese, who we're sending tons and tons of love to, who could not be here today. Big all heart from us to LaTia. We just wanted to send you a shout out. So without further ado, we got a lot of adventuring to get done in very little time. So before we jump into Icewind Dale itself, I want to take a second to introduce our players today. First, let's say hello to Jody Hauser.
Hello. I'm Jody Hauser, and I will be playing Selene, the swashbuckler tabaxi rogue.
Ooh, extremely cool. We also have Gaurav Gulati.
Hello, everyone. I'm Gaurav Gulati, and I will be playing Rende Sav'age, a barbarian of the Path of Wild Magic.
Ooh, extremely cool. We also have Mr. Liam O'Brien.
Oh, hi, everybody. I'm going to be playing Graeth today, who is a green dragonborn spore druid.
Extremely fungal, very cool. We also have today Carlos Luna.
Hello. Yes, my name's Carlos Luna. I will be playing Roussimoff Lutkor Cambria, a barbarian, a Goliath barbarian.
Woo! Hell yes. And we also have Aabria Iyengar.
Hi, I'm going to be playing Kovack, a tabaxi divine soul sorcerer.
Wonderful. And finally, Chris Perkins.
Hi, I will be playing Can of Tuna, who is our third tabaxi in this party, and I am an artificer with the armorer subclass. So I am a cat Iron Man combo.
Hell yeah. A bunch of awesome subclasses today, some of which I believe are brand new. We might be seeing some of these for the very first time in an actual play to date. Extremely cool. Without further ado, I invite all of you to picture in your mind's eye Icewind Dale. A flurry of snow and ice crystals sweeps up from a frozen lake shore in perpetual twilight. Overhead, a dim and frosty aurora overtakes the sky. Oril, the Frost Maiden, a spiteful goddess of winter and frost, has set upon the Icewind Dale a perpetual winter and twilight known as the Everlasting Rime. Indeed, for the past 2 years, all of the denizens of Icewind Dale have lived without the sun, abjured by the Frost Maiden herself. The natural world has been rocked by the lack of the sun, for even here in the far northern reaches, the changing of seasons at least is needed for the wild beasts and folk within to sustain themselves. So indeed, a time of incredible hardship, unknown even here in the rugged north, has been visited upon these people. On the distant shores of Lake Mer Dualdan, though, a gathering has begun, and indeed throughout the frigid reaches around 10 towns, the flickering lights of Icewind Dale's sort of biggest claim to civilization, as far as Icewind Dale can be said to have any, a gathering of adventurers and soldiers of fortune, travelers, merchant, those dealing in the arcane arts and magical goods, are gathering just south of the town of Tourmaline, by the shores of Lake Mer Dualdan. We see various sorts gathering here, and some of our wonderful heroes have yet to arrive here. We are going to journey through the snow and wind-swept hills, through tall conifer trees, to a trio approaching the gathering by the shores of the lake. this trio journeys to the Great Knucklehead Rally, a light-hearted and jovial name for a festival and tournament that is the very first of its kind for indeed the dwarven adventurer Krina Copperknight, a renowned traveler and hero in these lands, has seen fit to found a feast, which, given the feeling of dread that permeates Icewind Dale through the Righed Glacier and beyond, the idea of throwing a festival in this horrifying deific twilight and everlasting winter is a kind of unheard of feat of cheer and frivolity, with almost an air of thumbing one's nose to the oppressive gloom that resounds throughout this realm. Many folks, some of them just seeking some lightheartedness in a festival, and others seeing an opportunity for coin adventure and a gathering of some of Icewind Dale's most prominent heroes, now journey here. And the trio that moves through the woods right now, we see two tabaxi walking side by side, along with a towering dragonborn druid. Selene, Kovack, and Graeth, you find yourselves now perhaps within just a few minutes of rounding the hill over the top of this crest to the Great Knucklehead Rally itself. One by one, could we go ahead and introduce our characters and tell us a little bit about what you look like, what expression your character is wearing, and what is on your mind as you approach the top of the hill? We'll start with Aabria as Kovack.
So Kovack is an older lynx, so she's got sort of like brown to silver fur, very plush, very fluffy. She's on the shorter side and on the thicker side, being a middle-aged tabaxi. She's also got like a big owlbear fur coat on to guard against the cold. And as she walks and sort of explains her plans, she is twirling around her arcane focus, which is this small stiletto dagger that's etched on the side, and she's actually using it as a nail file. And you see that her claws, which are always popped out, are like vacillating and flashing through these colors as she kind of keeps an eye out in the wilderness in case something would pop up.
Incredible. Jody, go ahead and describe Selene for us and what's going on with her as she approaches.
So Selene's a lot younger than Kovack. She's probably just out of her teens. She's kind of like a Russian blue sort of coloring, so sort of that grayish, fluffy fur and blue eyes. She's wearing a warm cloak over black leather armor that just has way too many buckles. You know, it's just clearly showing off. It's sort of like 90s superhero pouches level of buckles. And she looks very wary. She's being kind of quiet, keeping an eye on everything, and just sort of keeping her thoughts to herself. Her face is a little bit of a mask.
And Liam, the trio's druid, Dragonborn, go ahead and describe Graeth for us and what expression he wears on his face as he approaches the rally.
Graeth does not know the two tabaxi he travels with very well. He was a new companion. He's tall and gaunt, borderline emaciated. He's wrapped in ragged rags fashioned into a cloak, and he carries a staff that is crusted over in fungus and lichen, which is frosted over by the icy climate around them. He's not from around here. And as he breathes in the cold air, the plumes of frost hitting the air have swirls of green and black in them. He's almost like a frozen over fungal pig pen, and he's just swearing under his breath behind the two tabaxi.
Would you say he's a fun guy at parties?
Ironically, no.
So house rule, everybody gets to do that joke one time. That's our first one. We got it in the first couple minutes, and that's great. So everybody else take your shot sometime in the next 3 hours.
Yeah. 5 more dad jokes. 5 more.
Graeth, as you walk through the thick conifers here, you have been brought along by Kovack and her younger friend Selene. Traveling through the wilderness is rough. With the lack of food brought about by the lack of the sun the past 2 years, Icewind Dale's predators, just its normal beasts, have become desperate and ravenous. Most people that travel through the wilderness have to figure out some way of surviving out here. And even though the frigid north is not anything close to the biome that Graeth is from, you are still a druid and have some ability to ward off the extremely bold and aggressive beasts that plague Icewind Dale during this perpetual darkness. Every inch of your reptilian body screams out that this is a land of nothing but death and eternal sleep as you move through this place. And the two warm-blooded companions to either side of you, I think both of the cast, especially Kovack, who is a lynx, your like wide, fuzzy paws have like 2 layers of fur, like an extremely soft, downy underfur, and then a sort of more lustrous coat of fur on top of that like wicks moisture off. You're totally groovy. Your lynx family has been in Icewind Dale for a long time. It's, the winter is like rough. It's rough to not have sun for 2 years. But honestly, you're feeling great right now. It's not that cold. You're near 10 towns. This is not where the weather is the worst in terms of the everlasting rime. And as you are traveling here, you begin to hear the tinkling and wailing of instruments over the hilltop, and you see underneath the haunting, ghostly white aurora of frost overhead, you begin to see pew, pew, 2 little fireworks go off over the festival overhead, which is the first sort of bit of hope-inspiring, brightly colored light you've seen. You hear a small cheer go up. You know that you are close to the festival ahead of you.
Kovack is just going on and on. She's like, and I know I was telling everybody that, like, yes, I'm an obligate carnivore, but I don't have to eat fish for every meal. Oh, we're getting close. What's wrong? Everyone, are you okay, Graeth?
Nothing that a fire can't cure. Not really in a party mood, but I'm frozen to the bone. Let's go have fun.
I don't like the way you said that, but let's give it a shot. Selene, darling, how are you?
I'm good. Do you need a mint or something, Graeth? There's kind of a stuff.
We've been traveling together for 2 weeks. This bit is getting old.
I mean, I still think it's funny, so.
I think it's great.
Thanks.
You need to learn to live a little. We're about to be in a festival. You're going to have this whole weird aura about you, and I'm trying not to,
Look, it's
bring
2020. We'll do our best.
She kind of just floofs her cheeks and keeps walking.
You guys alight to the top of the crest. As you are going up through the thick conifers, again, thick layers of snow that you are crunching through here. And I think you've already been made aware that the snow can give out underneath you and you can drop 1.5 feet, and that's fine. Sometimes the snow can give out and you could drop 20 feet into a forest ravine, get buried. It is dangerous, dangerous traveling here. Icewind Dale, like all the rest of these realms, is home to tons of beasts and monsters and occult and arcane threats. But Icewind Dale is also very special among them in that just regular old nature can kill you so easily out here. You alight to the top of the crest, look down, and at the top, you see there is this enormous boulder, the kind of boulder that glaciers moved here in the distant past. And Graeth, you see that this boulder is covered in weak green-gray lichen, which is the only fungus native to this area up here. It's just that completely paper flat, little green sort of snowflake patterned, somewhere halfway between moss and fungus. And you see that the lichen sort of reaches out to you in your druidic sense and goes, "Druid, we have not seen a fungal soul in these lands in some time. It is so very cold."
Graeth places his hand on the stone, and little gnats come streaming off of his forearm, out of his sleeve, and start scurrying over it. Hello, little loves. How have you lived so long in this cold?
We have made a home here upon the surface of the rock for ages. But now the sun is gone from this place, and we hunger so. The gnats crawl off your arm. They have been living deep in the moist patches of your rags, and it takes less than 10 seconds for them to crawl across the surface of the boulder, die just from exposure to the cold, and you see that the lichen graciously and greedily soaks up the nutrient of those tiny little morsels of dead things to consume the rot and live a little bit longer. So, thank you.
It's a cruel world. We do the best we can. Live on.
You walk from this place having given some life to this distant cousin of your fungal family here. Kovack and Selene, you both witnessed this grim moment of communion from your druidic companion.
Horrifying.
Your two Tabaxi friends here sort of look on in dismay and horror. Looking at the bottom of the hill, you see that there is a small area of stone wall, some ancient proof that at one point this land was arable and that farmers lived here, sort of a small farmer's wall. Kovack, you look at the bottom of the hill and see a tinkerer's wagon. And at the outset of it, you recognize this is your friend that you've been meaning to meet up with here, knowing that though this rally presented great opportunity, it also represented great danger. The artificer's wagon of your old friend Can of Tuna rests at the bottom of the hill. And from here, we're going to cut over to our other three companions that have been traveling to the rally a long distant way. We have Can of Tuna, who not only has her arcane armor wrapped all around her, but also with her magical boots of the Winterlands, is an extremely proficient guide through the dangerous roads and byways of Icewind Dale, especially around the area of 10 Towns. And Can of Tuna, not only have you been traveling here to meet up with your old friend Kovack, who you know is in a little bit of trouble that she needs to get some help getting out of, but you're also making a pretty piece of coin from transporting two out-of-towners here. You have your companions, Rande Sav'age, an elven traveler from lands beyond, and also Roussimoff, the Goliath, who is here with you as well. Let's go through one by one as you all you've just stopped the wagon here. And go ahead, if you'd be so kind. We'll start with Can of Tuna. Go ahead and describe your character, what she looks like, and what she's doing now that you've taken this one last pit stop before arriving at the rally.
So Can of Tuna, you assume that she's a Tabaxi. You don't get to see much of her though, because she is completely encased in armor. That's very tight-fitting and lithe, surprisingly so, and not very noisy. You would expect her to be clanking and clunking around in this thing, but actually she's quite deft at magically perhaps silencing the noise of this armor. It moves with sort of a grace that you wouldn't expect. And her boots of the Winterlands, however, are not incorporated into the armor at all. So she looks like this armored up creature with these fuzzy boots that are usually buried in snow at this point. She, in order to endear herself to you, she's been using her magical tinkering while waiting for her friend Kovacs to show up to make wrestling belts for the two of you.
Extremely cool. When we look over at the companions that have just had these wrestling belts made for them, Carlos, go ahead and describe Roussimoff for us.
Yeah, Roussimoff is this big Goliath bard. He kind of resembles Claudio Sanchez from Coheed and Cambria. He has swoopy hair like across his eye, and it's obviously curly, so he straightens it sometime in the morning. He's always writing down song lyrics, and but he's a little too happy and doesn't have the life experience of an emo bard, and he's just hoping for some type of exposure to that cold world that he wants to sing about, that all his bands sing about. And he's constantly changing his shirt whenever he's about to play a song to one of his favorite bands that inspires him. So yeah.
Hell yeah. And Gaurav, when we behold Rande, what do we see before us?
So Rande is a high elf, as you said previously, and he has long black hair, which has been put up in a ponytail and a well-kept black beard. He's wearing green formal clothing, very bright and colorful, has a fun pattern on it. And he has a large greatsword strapped on his back, which looks a bit strange to his frame of the body, which is much smaller than you'd expect for a barbarian. And he actually has a pair of thin glasses hanging low on his face, which he is constantly sort of fuzzling with, just, hello.
Incredible. The two mysterious travelers that have come here to Icewind Dale, both Rande, to see a smaller bespectacled elf with a massive greatsword on his back, and then this like bardic Goliath, much larger than the other companion. Both of you, as the wagon stops, walk out and see a sort of flurry of snow kick up. Thankfully, it is not there is no risk of a blizzard tonight, but you see that there is a just constant flurry of snow from the incredible cold and dryness of this place. So the sort of powder clinging to the hilltops just gets kicked up and scatters across the valleys with every passing gust of wind. You look out and again see this scintillating ghost white landscape punctuated by tall conifer trees and the distant shore of the lake overhead. As you exit, walking straight out of the wood line are three companions that begin to descend the hillside towards the stone wall. No perception roll necessary. Tuna and Kovack, you spy each other as you join forces here on the road right outside the rally.
Tuna, darling, and me without my can opener, how are you?
Finally. Thanks for showing up. Great to see you as always.
The echo in here, the acoustics are terrible. Everyone, can of tuna, and I don't know what this is, but I like it.
The pleasure is all mine. Welcome. Welcome to Icewind Dale.
For our
an armor reverb?
This is an advanced voice oscillator.
This is incredible. Our in-person Foley effects. Wonders never cease. Yes, you see Tuna's voice echoes out from this impressive arcane armor. And for Kovack and her companions that arrive here, you do see these two other companions within the wagon, Roussimoff and Rande, as you guys sort of see this small reunion take place on the road outside.
I have a gift for you, Kovack.
You shouldn't have.
And I'll
take it.
I will hand you a small mechanical mouse that glows in the dark, shedding light in a 5-foot radius and dim light for another 5 feet beyond that.
It can get very dark out here at night.
Thank you. I will treasure this. And I brought you a druid.
Part of the bargain. Are you passing me off?
No, God, you have no sense of humor, do you? This is going to be a long day.
As soon as Roussimoff hears that, he kind of perks up, like, no sense of humor, dark voice, and he like looks over. He looks over and he sees this mysterious, gruff dragonborn, and he's just like,
This guy seems so cool. Yes. What's your deal, man?
Does anyone hear coyotes in the hills?
I did hear that. Yes, I did. I'm glad to see the two who are most sad and depressed in the place where everyone can be sad and depressed in the frozen north. Welcome to here.
How many of you are locals?
I'll raise my hand.
Yes.
Only Tuna raises her hand. And as you ask that question, Graeth, you guys do see on far off other trails groups of pilgrims and travelers sort of arriving at the festival. And another set of fireworks goes up. You hear more music striking up. And you feel that the festivities are set to commence in earnest over there beyond the hill.
Excellent.
Well, I guess if you want to be sad, you might as well go be sad at a big party.
Well, I'm freezing my dragon ass off. Let's go find a fire inside.
The six of you journey together, the wagon being pulled along. Tuna, this is your sort of like tinkerer's wagon. What do you think the odds are that this is being pulled by a beast of burden, or if this is being pulled by some other mechanical marvel? I'll leave that up to Tuna to decide.
I will probably just assume that I traded my services at one point to get my hands on an axe beak, and this big flat-footed axe beak is basically pulling my little wagon.
This axe beak is the definition of a creature that has seen better days. The world weariness and somberness, just to see an animal that is so adept at representing an emotion as complex as ennui, you can tell that there's like an advanced philosophical depression all about this axe beak as it trudges forward. There's no this tall, like broad axe build bird of burden on two legs pulls the wagon forward. You round the corner and see before you a massive festival. Truthfully, you would have been completely amazed to see like a couple, even like 100 or 200 people here. Immediately you clock that there's more than 1,000 people here at the festival. This, for Icewind Dale, a tremendous amount of people have poured out of the surrounding 10 towns and come here. And you immediately begin to understand why. Not only are bright fires everywhere, but brightly colored tents made of thick canvas, dyed furs. And when I say tents, I mean that there are small tents that could fit, a half a dozen people in them, with card readers and fortune tellers, with people that sort of have a table set at the outside of the tent and vending. You also see that there are brightly colored paper lanterns set with alchemical, either like sun rods or other alchemical lights in them, that is boosting the seasonal affective disorder of everybody here at the festival. You kind of are all getting UV light for the first time from whatever these alchemical lights are. Big bonfires with lots of dry firewood everywhere. And you see a lot of cousins of the Copper Knight family, members of Krina's either old family guild or other things like that, have these stands set up with alchemically preserved fresh produce. You see there's a cart of apples that has a small glowing ruby gem in the middle, preventing them from taking on frost. Everyone here, go ahead and roll any kind of either perception or insight or any kind of check you would want to make. If you are, feel free to do a Tinker's Tools if you're looking at the items around here. But immediately you all are stunned by the wealth here at the festival ahead of you.
3.
Everybody in 10 towns is here. I rolled an 8.
17 for perception.
15 for perception.
I also got a 3, sadly.
Graeth actually isn't looking around, but has fallen in line next to the axe beak and is pulling frosted over bits of fungus and feeding them to the bird like dog treats as they
That can't be healthy.
The axe beak eats your growth with a sort of grim determination. You can feel this beast's sense of camaraderie with you as it sort of empathizes with your desire to stay alive here in the frozen north, despite any inclination to actually enjoy that life it is grimly clinging to.
That's a good boy. That's a good boy.
Trudge. For a couple of tabaxi here that got a higher perception roll, let me go ahead. And did anyone else either on a perception, or you can do an insight or a tinker's tools or whatever? Did anyone else get a roll 15 or higher? No. Awesome. Nay to that. So let me ask Selene and Kovack, is there anything in particular you are keeping an eye out for?
Selene is keeping an eye on people who look wealthy, who are traveling alone, who may kind of look like assholes, to maybe, pickpocket a few people who probably deserve it.
Awesome. And Selene, what was your roll again on your perception?
Oh, it's 15. It's 15, sorry.
15, no worries. Great. You look around for sort of like signs of, other people worth pickpocketing, things like that. Listen, there are definitely a bunch of wealthy merchants here. The smart ones have guards around them. And there's plenty of ones who came here with, the means to defend themselves from like the dangers of the wilderness, and without having spent any time or energy defending themselves against the hunters that would be here at the festival when they got here. So you see a couple of easy marks for sure. I'll say on a 15 as well. You see something that is a little bit alarming to you, which is one of the wealthy sort of magical item Copper Knight tents has a small double straight mark, diagonal mark scratch in the fabric of the tent, which you clock as thieves' cant. What's interesting to you is this is a piece of southern thieves' cant. It's not part of the parlance they use up here in the north. It's also particularly tabaxi. You haven't, I'll say this, the mark is pretty inconsequential. Basically what the mark means is like, hey, this tent is actively being cased. So if you have any bright ideas about robbing this tent, know that you are stepping on the paws of other people who are doing the same thing.
Yeah, Selene poops a little bit. Doesn't say anything to anyone, but she's a little poofier.
Actually, I'll say for your companions here, Selene, go ahead and give me a deception, and then everyone else here give me an insight if you do.
That's a natural 1.
Oh no!
Hey. Same, natural 1.
Whoa!
I only rolled a 4. I didn't think it would be enough.
I also rolled a 4.
I mean, I have a 5 total, but it's a nat 1, so.
I got a 16.
16 as well.
Oh.
Incredible. So I'm going to go ahead and say, Selene, for all of your natural suaveness, I think you do that full cat thing where like ears swivel forward, fur poofs up, eyes completely dilate, your pupils go to like paper thin. Tuna and Kovack, even with your low rolls, this kind of like tabaxi body language is enough for you to cloud what's happening. And Rande, you definitely are able to clock what you're seeing here. Graeth as well, as long as you didn't roll a natural 1.
16.
Yeah, I think you guys see Selene react to something with a little bit of wariness and alarm, and probably with that natural 1 can also tell that Selene is actively trying to hide it.
You're looking a little like a cat on a hot tin roof. Something amiss?
I think there might be thieves about.
What kind of thieves? Good thieves? Thieves working for us? Thieves working against us?
Thieves who won't be as good as I am.
Ah, that's good to hear.
This is a party, and almost everybody in 10 towns is here. I'd be surprised if there weren't some thieves roaming about.
Versus.
Keep an eye out for, I guess, even more tabaxi.
You give that warning out. Kovack, I want to resolve your perception check as well. You got a 17.
Yeah.
What is Kovack looking out for anything in particular?
She's keeping an eye out for any bookies that would remember her, or would-be crime bosses and bad losers. She wouldn't call it a gambling problem, but she does like to gamble, and she's not always great at it. So she owes a lot of people a lot of gold, and she's trying to clock them early.
Amazing. You're looking out for bookies. You definitely see bookies and other people here. I'm going to say on that perception as well. On a 17, I think that number one, there's a lot of ne'er-do-wells around. And I think Kovack would also be amazed at how many not ne'er-do-wells there are around. Like, there's families here. There's young children. People from 10 towns have come here. You can be sure that like this place is large enough that there's almost that kind of like, it's sort of a temporary city, if it makes sense. There is almost this like, for lack of a better word, not Burning Man, Frozen Man. There is a vibe here of like, oh, this is a large enough gathering with enough of an economy of its own that it's going to become a temporary settlement. On that 17, you look around and I think are enough of a gambler that you clock these tables and everything else as well. The amount of wealth here is tremendous. I would say past the point of having an explanation. In other words, looking at the Copper Knight family, looking at all these dwarves, Karina Copper Knight's a famous adventurer. Her and her 3 husbands are all kind of like running this festival together. She's got a lot of cousins and other people who are coming here to like help sell this stuff off. As you're looking at this magical gear, you're looking at the ability for this adventurer to throw this level of a party. And I think that someone a little bit more innocent or naive than Kovack would probably go like, wow, well, so cool, a big party. And in the same way that like people, I think Kovack's the kind of person who would go to a wedding and be like, how much are the crepes? How much are the canapes? Like, you know what I mean? Like, How much is, like, what do you think they spent on this? There's a lot of big question marks in Kovack's mind about like, what happened to get all these merchants here? This is not doable for the Copper Knight clan normally. Your family goes way back here. You're like, if they had the ability to throw this party last year, they would have. Something happened recently that's a big deal, because I'm looking at these magic items and these are not freshly artificed. Some of these magic items have some wear and tear behind them and are like, okay, something went down, right? You look out and see this old half-orc looking around, huge big tusks with gold rings around, bald head, little scrap of salt and pepper hair around, big broad-shouldered half-orc. This is Gorum Malagar, also known as Old Gorum, who looks up and says, whoa, it's a living, breathing, like Kovack. There she is.
Oh.
Wraps you up in a big hug and says, "It's so good to see you, lovey. Welcome to the Great Knucklehead Rally."
Gorm, how are you? What's going on with all of this? It's a lot. I like it. And she, as she has kind of clocked everything, she can't help that she's like purring a little bit. She doesn't notice that she's doing it.
He goes, oh, it's going good. It looks like a big festival and all sorts of delights. Nice to have a little bit of cheer and Iceland Day for the first time in a long time. I'm amazed you're showing your face. There's a lot of dangerous people here who would want to hurt you or kill you.
Yeah, well, I was trying to keep a low profile, and then you kind of blew up my spot like that, so...
I did shout your name at the top of my lungs. Sorry.
You're still being very loud.
Oh, well, you know me. Well, hello, your friends here. Hello, everyone. My name's old Gaurav. Pleasure to meet you. If anyone here's looking to place a bet, there's a lot of tournaments going on here, but we all know that the real action isn't in the ring. It's behind the ropes off to the side.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. I am Rande Sav'age, and I would very much like to get my client into some matches inside the ring, although if there is some sort of backyard fights going on, my client would very much be interested in that as well.
Oh, certainly. Well, my understanding is that there are a couple of main events that are sort of the family-friendly ones, but if you're looking for some engagement in a place with a little bit more, discretion, my friend, then I would be more than happy to help supply you with some introductions.
Wonderful.
Who is your client, if I may be so bold as to ask?
My client is my other half. He appears only when he is scheduled to appear, or in certain cases when he is immediately needed in dangerous situations. But he will be here when he is contractually obligated to do so.
Oh, you represent your partner. Well, congratulations. It's lovely to be able to work with somebody that you... it's lovely. My wife is actually the main enforcer. She's sort of my main sort of bounty hunter. So it's really nice when you can have a relationship with someone you trust that you have that personal connection with.
I very much agree. Now, you said there were some tournaments we could possibly partake in. I'm sure we are all interested to get into fierce competition. Is that right, my friends?
Oh, absolutely. I'm happy to tell you right now that there's certainly been some interest in setting up some sort of bare knuckle situation a little bit later on during the festival. If you're interested, I could sign up your client, deliver you some odds, and we'll take the book setting from there. How does that sound?
That sounds wonderful. Perfectly wonderful.
Amazing. He goes ahead and says, anyone that would like to, feel free to come into my tent here and we'll strike up a deal. For the rest of you, you guys see this wide festival unfolding, and I'm sure that many of you, after a long day's travel, have certain biological needs that are very pressing in terms of getting a bite to eat, and certainly Graeth has talked about getting close to a warm fire for some time. We'll just go around. The festival is a wide open buffet of delights and opportunities before you. If you guys want to go around, tell me sort of if your characters want to stay close together, they can. Otherwise, delights at the Great Knucklehead Rally await. What are you guys interested in doing?
Oh, well, Selene really wants to check out that tent with the thieves' cant from the south that she recognizes scrawled on it, but she doesn't want to just immediately abandon the group either, so she'll hold off for a moment. If people start diverging, that's where she'll make a beeline, but she doesn't want to be obvious about leaving since everyone sort of clocked that something was bothering her.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Graeth really does want a fire, but you have to go to the dance with the tabaxi who brought you, so he will trail along behind his two companions, and any chance he gets, he will move over to bonfires and raise up his sleeves and sort of thaw out the frozen fungus on his arms and on his neck, and lets the little scarab beetles and wasps that live inside his clothes crawl out and catch a little warmth.
Incredible. So Selene peels off to go investigate the tent. And Graeth, you stay by Kovack's side. Kovack, what are you interested in doing here at the rally first?
I mean, there's no universe in which she doesn't just immediately slide into the tent and kind of gives Rande a look like, we need to talk. and opens up the tent to allow him in first.
Incredible. So Randé and Kovack both head into the tent, followed shortly thereafter by Graeth. For Roussimoff, what are you getting up to out here?
Yeah, I think if there's any music out there or anything he can hear, he's going to be attracted to that. He's going to try to track down some musicians, maybe get their stories or see what jams they're playing out here.
Incredible.
Before he leaves, I will just sort of tap him on the hip and hand him a stone with a glyph on it and say,
"This is one of 2 sending stones that I've made. Take it with you in case you get lost. You can give me a call."
This is awesome. Thanks. Yeah, I'll does it work over and over again, or is it just like one time? Because if I got some really sweet lyrics and can't find anything to write down, maybe I can send it to you and you can write it down for me.
I was going to tell him something else, but I think about it for a second. I say,
"It only works once, and only short messages."
Okay, cool. Yeah. It's like one verse or something. I get it.
Man, this high-tech, low-tech conversation is the best.
Great.
Incredible. And Tuna, you see the festival laid out before you as well. Your friend Kovack, along with Graeth and Randé, both head into the tent with Gaurav, as Selene and Roussimoff both head off. Where do your feet take you?
I will first use the pail of kitty litter that I keep in the back of my wagon. And then I will meander over. I'll try to stay close to Kovack because I know she's got a reputation. I know there might be other people in 10 towns looking for her, and I want to make sure that she's safe as she's walking into danger.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't tell her or let on that I'm as interested in her as I am. I just try to keep abreast of where she is and what she's up to.
Cool. So you're just kind of like investigating some of the tents and areas.
Exactly.
around.
But I'm always casting a glance back over in her direction because I know she needs her space and she's got things she wants to do. I don't want her to feel like I'm imposing on that.
Awesome. Very, very cool. For those of you who walk into the tent, you see a couple of individuals in here. At first, you see Goram's wife, Magra, who's already been called out by Gaurav as being kind of his enforcer. Magra has an enormous great axe on her back, beautiful half-orc woman. She's got sort of like graying hair tied up in a little bit of a bun. No armor at all, doesn't need it, doesn't want to be slowed down by it, but some sort of thick furs around her. She looks over at you, Kovack, and goes, "Oh, Kovack, my darling, my sweet angel." Mwah, mwah.
It's so good to see you. God, y'all are helping me do a really good job of staying low-key. But how are you? How's the baking?
Oh, the baking's going great. It's a hobby, you know. It's like you get to a certain age, you've split X amount of skulls, and you're like, I want to explore another part of something creative. I've spent so much time destroying. Let's have a little self-expression. Do you want some? See, she reaches into this dirty rucksack and takes out what looks like a rock, and then you can see is a meat pie. And says, "Would you like a slice?"
I'd love one.
Great. You get a feeling that as she takes out a knife to carve into it, she has to slightly go into a rage just to get advantage on the strength roll to push through the crust. Just.
Oh, God.
There is a wedge of like 8-inch thick crust with like one chunk of meat able to squeeze in between the top and bottom of the crust of the meat pie that she hands over to you. Says, "Enjoy. It really sticks to your ribs. It's good."
Oh, thank you so much. And she's gonna attempt to eat it because she's been on the wrong side of Magra far too many times. And if it takes a little bit of this food to keep her sweet, she's gonna attempt to eat it.
Incredible. Go ahead and roll a flat Constitution check for me. We're gonna call this. I'm gonna say DC 15 is you can get it down with a smile on your face. No, what'd you roll?
I rolled a natural one, but it would be a 4 if I could add my it's a 1. I rolled a 1.
Okay, I'm going to need either a deception or a sleight of hand following this from Kovack.
All right, let's go deception. Oh, it's only a 10. Nope.
It touches your lips, and it's just immediate hairball noises. It's just. Magra looks, and you see she's sort of partially in a rage, but you see that she sort of calms herself and goes like, yeah, it's one thing I have noticed is it doesn't keep. It doesn't really keep. It's better fresh out of the oven.
Honestly, it's on me. Is there gluten in this? I should have asked before. I apparently am gluten intolerant now.
Oh, well, yeah, that's what it is. It's not a bad pie.
No.
You're gluten intolerant. That makes sense.
It's
yeah,
all me.
absolutely.
This is wonderful, and I will keep it in hopes that someday in the future I'll be able to process it. Just puts it in the coat pocket. Forgets about
you
it.
Shove it in there. That pie is heavy enough that you kind of have to pitch to one side to not fall over with the pie in your pocket. Gaurav addresses you, Tuna, Graeth, and Rande, and says, we're looking to set up a little bit of action on the side. There's a small inlet of the lake around the side with some nice stones, some level ground, where some people that are interested in, let's say some entertainment that has a little bit more bite to it than just fishing are planning to throw down. Rande, what's the name of your fighter? We're going to close the book on new entrants probably in the next 30 minutes.
Yes. Well, he goes by the Sav'age, if you just want to just write down the Sav'age. Now, the is very important to have in there, so the Sav'age. You mentioned a audience of sorts. Now, is this, 200, 300? I prefer a sizable audience for myself and my client, of course.
Word is spreading out to the right customers. We want to keep it a little bit exclusive, but there's probably around that amount of people that we should expect to be in attendance, 200 to 300.
I see. Less people, but less glory. More money, though. More money. Very good. Very good. Yes.
He says, Glory, your client seems pretty assured of his victory. Is there something you know that I don't know?
Well, there are many things that I know that you do not know. We have just met. So I will just say that my client does not tend to lose. He is very assured of his victory, and so am I. Just put us in front of a opponent of greater skill, hopefully, than most, and we shall give you a show that you have never seen before, my friend.
Very well, confident promoter. I enjoy to see it. Let me just say, in case my innuendo is not caught here, I'll try to say this as delicately as I can. If one were to flagrantly cheat, and that would be a thing that also I knew was going to happen, then that would be amenable to one who is me, because it's okay for it as long as one who is you doesn't tell any. It's a secret. You can cheat if you tell me, and then we'll cheat and make a lot of money.
That is some sound logic.
Yes, I feel like you could have said that in a more succinct way, but
now the way I've said it is very subtle and criminal.
Is it? All right, I'll take your word for it. My client does not need any sort of special treatment or cheating. He is very capable of winning on his own merits. Now, if your opponent, his opponent, if they are cheating, deal with that accordingly. That's fine if they want to, Chief. They feel like they need an edge to beat my client. That is on them. That is their weakness, not ours.
Oh, that's some confidence. All right, we're gonna set. We'll set the books on this. He says, "Well, we'll come up with some odds for you in a minute, my friend." But I says, "Will you be placing any money yourself, or is the fight purse enough for you?"
I am currently low on funds, so fight purse for now. But if there is another bout, maybe tomorrow, or is this a multi-day festival? I'm unsure of things. Maybe we can increase as we go on.
He nods. He takes the entrance down. He makes a note for the Sav'age. For the rest of you here, you see Gaurav turns to you, Kovack, and says, my dear friend Kovack, it seems that you're in a little bit of trouble. How can old Gaurav be of assistance?"
Well, the first thing you can do for me is take this 50 gold. If our boy, what was it, the Sav'age is the underdog, let's start with that. And she pulls out a bag on the other side, so now she's like a little even, and hands it off with 50 gold to Gaurav. And then she says, the biggest thing I could use for you is you need to let me know if there's any late night games, or if you know any of the big names, the ones that are out for more than gold, out for blood. You let me know, because I can't pay what, dead people can't pay. I'm not clever. I just don't want to die.
Yes, understood. Aabria, what sum of money do you think Kovack is trying to cover here? Does her debt fall into the sizable but like doable, or are we talking about a deep, deep hole?
It's a death by 1,000 cuts, and she has remembered it as only like 100 to like 150 gold at a time, but it's now in like the 5,000 to 6,000 gold range.
Gotcha. So there's a tremendous amount of money. You see that Gaurav takes your 50 gold, puts it, and says, "I'll do you a favor, you lover. I was gonna set the Savage's odds at 1 to 3. For you, lovey, we'll set them 1 to 4. You can make 200 gold off that fight."
Let's just hope he's as good as his hype man says he is.
He is.
You get those odds set. So if that fight goes well, you have chipped away 200 gold out of a 3,000 gold piece debt. You see, we're going to cut over now to Selene over at one of the magical item tents. You see that this is a very specific tent that is sort of dedicated to wands, staves, rods. So the thing, it's much smaller because these are not like potions where they're like in an affordable range for like the average person. These are like, you're throwing down a tremendous, if you're coming here, it's like going to a jewelry store or somewhere else where like, oh, you're dropping a lot of money here. What does Selene do as she approaches the tent, and what is she looking out for?
First of all, going to be as stealthy as possible, just trying to blend in with the crowd. And she wants to look at the items in the tent to see if anything jumps out as being particularly tempting to, people she might have known at some point.
Give me a stealth check.
That is 22.
Ooh.
Incredible. Selene, this tent is set up such that there is a small flap at the front with a makeshift wooden table, some wares laid on it, and then the interior of the tent is not open to the public. However, on a 22 stealth, you feel that you could either slip in under one of the back pieces of canvas or wait in the shadows outside the tent if you would like to make perception checks about what's going on inside. I will leave it up to Selene.
I'm going to slip in.
Oops, sorry?
I'm going to slip in under the bag.
Slip it into the bag. You are crouched in the shadows hiding. Because you've taken the risk to go into the tent, go ahead and roll a perception check with advantage.
Cool. That is 23.
Ooh, extremely good. You clock the same thing that Kovack clocked earlier upon your arrival to the festival, which is none of this stuff looks shiny and new. None of this looks like, oh, it's been freshly created by artificers. There's new magical items here. Everything here looks old. It's got a story behind it. Some of the cultures of origin that produced these various artifacts are clearly different, which gives the feeling of a collection rather than a manufactured product, which immediately jives with what you overhear these two dwarves in here talking about. You see that one of the dwarves turns to the other and goes, right, but I'm trying to understand why is there such a pressure on us to move all this so quickly? We could take this, bring it back somewhere else safe, move it somewhere else. You see that the first dwarf, this appears to be an elder of the clan, is saying look, I've heard some disturbing things about how we came by all this. You know, Krina, she means well, but I don't know if her story of how she came by all these artifacts exactly matches up with the timeline of how long she was gone from Tin Towns for. Look at all of these things. What kind of caravan would be moving all of these things at the same time? I think it's better for us to try to get rid of these as fast as we can and then try to get them out of Tin Towns. You see that a customer approaches and the private conversation between these two dwarves ends. Selene, you are hidden away in here. And sorry, what did you roll on your perception check again?
Perception was 23.
I'm going to roll a little stealth check over here behind the board. Immediately outside of the tent, you become aware of a figure maybe about 20 feet away from here, doing a bad job of concealing an excited purr. A stationary figure is watching this tent from the outside.
Do I recognize that purr?
I think Selene recognizes that purr, absolutely.
Are the dwarves who are talking to the customer sort of distracted from the items, or are they busy showing the customer the items in the tent?
You would probably have to make a new stealth check if you were going to try anything, but because they are distracted, you'd probably be doing that with advantage.
Yeah, I'm totally going to do that.
Go for it.
18, so that is 26.
Ooh, Selene, you may help yourself to whatever you wish here.
I want to take the thing that looks the most expensive.
You take an incredible, gaudy, jewel set, golden scepter-looking wand. Yoink it, and it is on your person and in your possession.
And then I am going to nope out of there.
Awesome. I'll say the same stealth check covers it. As you dip on out of there, are you moving in a direction? You have two choices. You can either move out through the front, where the dwarves are, or dip out through the sides, but again, risk maybe being spotted by whatever figure is casing the tent.
I'm going to go out the side.
Cool. You dip on out of the side. 26 is very high, but it is not beyond the skill bonus of the figure watching you.
What?
I also maybe kind of want to be spotted a little bit.
Little tail swish there.
I like Selene.
Sure enough, your risk, which is coming from the adventurous spirit within Selene, 26 stealth is good. But on a natural 18 on the roll, you hear a voice behind you, behind the tents. You're kind of at the edges of the tent landscape here, and you hear a voice that is both smooth and raspy at the same time. As a tall tabaxi closes in with you, striations of orangey ginger tabby fur across his face, as a familiar voice says, "As I live and breathe, I thought in all my 9 lives I'd never see you again. What brings you to this party, Selene?" And you see the familiar face of your former adventuring party member and ex, Bryce, staring at you.
Bryce?
Here at the edge.
His name
Bryce.
is Bryce?
What a name.
Bryce.
His dad owns a ski resort.
He's got a little Cobra Kai patch.
Beat him in a dance competition. He's straight out of the 80s. He pops his collar.
Nobody puts Kitty in a corner. Exactly. Yeah,
Yes.
Bryce says, well, Selene, good to see you again.
I wish I could say the same.
His whiskers poof out on either side of his face. He goes, "Now, I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure you can read Thieves' Cant, which makes your little intercession on that magical item tent make me wonder if either you've forgotten how to read our little thieves' code, or you do and just don't care about the code anymore."
Let's just say I perhaps recognize the handwriting as someone who owed me a lot.
Bryce smiles and says, "Now, I understand that there might be some hurt feelings, but that's all in the distant, distant past now. I would hate for us to keep stepping on each other's paws while we were here. Are you traveling here alone, or have you taken in with a new group of friends that you maybe like better than your old pals?"
A new group of friends who hopefully won't leave me behind at the first sign of trouble.
You see, he smiles, looks at you, and says, "Unfortunately, anytime someone leaves you, darling, they're leaving a big sign of trouble. Let's,
Ooh.
he says, let's, well, it's a big festival, and I don't see any need for us to get in each other's way. Is there anything I should be aware of if you're going to be spending your time here as well? I'd be happy not to stray into your territory, as it would be."
Just keep your distance, and I'll perhaps keep mine.
Are there any friends of yours that we should keep distant from as well?
Oh, if you get to meet them, I think that could be quite entertaining, so just maybe keep an eye out for anyone here. I'm not going to make it easy for you.
You never did. And Bryce smiles and slinks away into the frost. How is Selene feeling after her run-in, where she definitely, you can tell. Actually, I'll say, Selene, go ahead and roll an insight check for me.
Cool.
We finna kill Bryce, right?
Yeah. 14.
You can tell for all of his swashbuckling debonairness, the fact that you got in and out of that tent with something expensive, oh, it got to Bryce so bad. You are definitely walking out of that interaction having rattled this dude pretty fiercely. He can put on a good show, but you know him well enough to know that he got shook.
Yeah, Selene has a nice little smile on then as she heads back toward the tent where she left her friends. Her better friends.
Exactly. We're going to cut over to Roussimoff now. Roussimoff, you wander over to an area that is almost like a small courtyard. There's a large log cabin bonfire. So like big tree trunks stacked up, like 2 logs, and then another 2 logs perpendicular up and up. So there's tons of warmth and fire here. People dancing around the bonfire. You, for the first time in Icewind Dale, actually see grass. There is dead, cold grass. The fire is hot enough that it is burned down to see this complete, it's like dead as can be, but there's this like fossilized dead dirt underneath the frost from this fire, which feels almost sacrilege under the everlasting rime. A small halfling band sits in a like small series of bleachers that are constructed into the top of a wagon with a there is an aurochs at the front that is sort of like an albino white aurochs, like big curling horns. It almost looks like a pygmy aurochs. Those are normally like prehistoric and giant. This is just like a big curly horned musk oxen, and this halfling band is striking up, playing kind of merry tune, tinny little brass instruments, and you see that they are singing a song of spring. There's a strawberry blonde halfling with a little sort of thick winter coat, but like with a little daisy cantrip with some druid craft into her hair, going, "Oh, the flowers bloom in spring," and just sort of merrily singing a song. People dancing. Roussimoff, what do you do as you find this first group of musicians?
So I think Roussimoff stands there for a minute, taking in the sights. And I think naturally he grew up in a cheery family and a cheery clan. So he naturally knows the rhythm and wants to get into it, but fights it. He's already changed his shirt. He's now wearing a different band shirt, all Akokra rejects, I think. And he's just really trying not to like tap to the beat or move or anything. But his eye darts over to the person with the horns, and kind of leans back and like, "Hey, what do you think of these guys?"
So I'm going to, so you lean in to say that, I'm going to ask for a nature check from you real quick.
Okay. "21.
So as you lean in to talk to this aurochs that is pulling the wagon, you say that the creature looks up at you, and you see that this creature is 100% a beast of burden, like the Axebeak was. So you have fully like started up a conversation with effectively a horse.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Okay. I'm gonna look over.
It's like, it's that feeling you get when you're like walking down the street and you realize you're going the wrong way, but you don't want to stop because the people will think like, "Why'd that guy just stop in the middle of the road and turn around?"
Good boy.
The song stops. There's a little cheer. The musicians pause for a moment, and the little halfling looks over and says, "Well, hey there, friend. It seems you've struck up a conversation with old Bruno, the aurochs. He's a very good listener."
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really like talking to him. It's just, sometimes, the gentle creatures, they can pick up on a lot of, "Hey, what's going on? My name's Roussimoff Luthor. You guys had some jams up there, huh?"
"Oh, some jams? Yes, well, we have some jams and some preserves, some biscuits, and if you're hungry, I think that there's some other places nearby that are serving some fried meats and there's even some roasted vegetables. I haven't seen a vegetable in Icewind Dale I don't know how long."
Yeah, Do you guys play anything ever heavy? Like just stuff that you want to like bang your head to?
Oh sure. Milo's drum is extremely heavy. It was built for someone human-sized. It's nice, a nice bass drum. That's quite heavy. It takes 2 or 3 of us to pick it up.
No, I didn't mean like weight or anything. I was thinking like more. I was thinking more like heavier bands, like Tabaxi Back Sunblade or Cure Wounds is what we aim for. You guys have that like mellow tone, which I'm really, you guys got that Death Cleric for gelatinous QB sound that I'm really not like into.
Well, I'll tell you this, friend. We haven't heard. It's kind of funny to think about how music would be heavy. It doesn't weigh anything at all. But if you'd like to play something, I'm sure me and the band would love to follow in behind you. Why don't you take it away, and we'll strike up the band and try to keep up as best we can.
Okay. Whoa. Yeah, that sounds like my dream. I feel like no one's ever invited me on stage before.
Oh, I want to be very clear. We did not invite you on stage. You
I'll just thank you. He starts heading for stage.
Oh God! You climb up onto these like halfling-built bleachers. The entire wagon, like Titanic, tips over. Like 2 of the wheels kind of pop up. The RX partially gets lifted up from it. It's just on its like it. Triangles, so now the harness is the apex of this triangle as the wagon tilts and the Aurochs's back legs are partially up in the air. You see that the little halfling says, "Okay, attention, fairgoers. Strawberry and the Marigolds are inviting a guest performer. What did you say your name was, traveler?"
You guys can call me Lootcore.
Lootcore! Please give a warm round of applause to Lootcore! And you see the sort of crowd gathers just to see. This is some like Jim Henson stuff. Like these halflings truly could scale you. Like you're like almost twice again as big as the average person, and then these halflings are half as small. So you are like, you see that the violinist has to like sit on your knee to fit in the wagon. And they say, "Take it away, Lootcore."
Okay, Lootcore turns around. Watch me on the 1s and 2s and try to keep up.
Pulls out his lute, which is also very tiny, and he just starts like strumming it hard. And he's kind of just trying to remember lyrics from the conversations that Graeth has said, like things that Graeth has said, like since he's seen him.
Darkness, no more sunshine.
It's a horrible world, and we do the best we can.
I'm gonna need a performance check from Lootcore here.
A performance?
I'm gonna need a performance check. Give me a performance check.
That is the fairest thing you could ever ask me right now. I shit you not, it's a nat 20. I swear to God, I wish I am going to send this to you guys because I swear to God, this is 100% true.
Show us the photo. I love it. I'm gonna
this. Yeah. How do I work my phone?
Incredible. I'm gonna roll a performance check.
It doesn't.
So blurry.
Disputable. There we go.
We
There it
believe.
is.
We believe.
Yeah.
I'm gonna roll for the halflings to follow with advantage. Hold on 1 second. I kid you not. A 20 and a 7. A nat 20 and a 7 come up.
We invented music. We invented a genre.
I can't fucking believe it. Okay, so you kick off very worried about Strawberry and the Marigolds who introduce you. Your first lyric is like, "There is no sunshine." It comes out, and you're talking about like pulling fungus off your head and feeding it to beasts, like all this messed up stuff you've seen Graeth do. I'm gonna say this exact point, by the way. Kovack, Graeth, and Randay walk out of the tent. So Graeth, you look over and behold this show of this person singing stuff you've done. Lutecore, you look down as you start strumming hard on this lute. You see Strawberry, who is the woman who's the lead singer of the Halfling band, look up at you as you start talking about these grim, dark things. She looks up at you in horror and goes, "Rugga-gonk, go-go-gonk, gonk, go-go-gonk." And these halflings just pick it up. You see that like the daisies start shaking out of her hair as she just like headbangs hard, like kind of like skanking back and forth across the stage like a skog, like just kicking out her feet back and forth. And as soon as you get to hit the chorus one time, she picks it up as well and goes into this deep throat sing. She like drops a couple octaves. She like, "There was no sunshine, the darkness reigns inside." These halflings pick it up hard.
I will say that Graeth, who's walked out and is just totally perplexed at first, just his head slowly starts to bob. And he pulls out this pan flute made of bones. He pulls out his pipes of haunting, and just from the distance starts playing along and really unsettling everyone within a 30-foot range of him.
Is that really the uncommon magic item that you chose?
Yes, it is.
That's too cool.
That is so perfect. This song kicks up a huge amount of people gather around celebrations. People are like throwing coins. There's like a small instrument case for a mandolin open that just gets filled with copper, and even like some silver pieces make their way into the mandolin case. You believe you may have changed music forever?
Kovack works for the biggest person that like is headed over, and I want to cast Friends on them and just whisper up to him, "Tell him to open up the pit." Circle it up.
Incredible. You see there is a Goliath nearby who just booms out in a thundering voice, "Open up the pit! Open up the pit! Get it moshing in here!" You guys just see a tiny little like halfling just full elbow out, side dive, bam into the pit. It gets this is the music that Icewind Dale has needed for the past 2 years, as the everlasting rhyme is sort of set overhead. You can tell immediately there's some person in the back who you can just tell 30 years from now is going to be talking to like some bard from the Southern Realms being like, "What you've got to understand is back then no one was doing music. No one had ever heard this sound before in the realms, man." It's like,
you see them on Elixir commercials, and that's fine now. But back then, you had to go to Windale for that.
Graeth has wandered into the heart of it, and he is just Jethro telling it to the Aurochs.
Graeth, you are near this bonfire that warms your tired dragonborn bones, and you get like lifted up as you're hitting your pipes of haunting and are just crowd surfing over this crowd near the bonfire as you're blowing on these pipes of haunting.
Oh man, forget it. What are spell slots for? Fairy fire. The entire crowd is dancing, sparkling, literally like dragonfly dusting in the whole stage, and Roussimoff are sparkling.
Incredible. Oh my god. The spell alights. I'm gonna say you guys, this performance changes the festival. Like, there is a radiating warmth from the people gathered here, and also a radiating like rage and this idea of like being here in the darkness against this everlasting rhyme. The people have like come together in this place as a community in this rally outside of 10 Towns. And there is a flicker of dark, rage-filled hope of raging against the everlasting rhyme here in this place. Incredible performance. We're going to deal with the fallout of that as it goes on. immediately following that, Marigold is like, if you want to travel with the band, that's incredible. We found our new sound.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, that'd be incredible. I would love that. I mean, we'd all get. I was thinking about getting like a sleeve of tattoos. Actually, I think they would look good on you guys too.
What? Tattoos? That sounds metal as hell. You see that. God. After this, I just realized that this halfling's name is Strawberry. in the middle of the thing, there's like a little artificer sending stone. You see Strawberry halfway the concert is like, it's your cousin Strawberry.
Yes.
Listen to this. It's the rock.
Oh yeah, you can't write this scene, okay?
Too good.
Perfect.
We're gonna cut over to Can of Tuna. We're gonna cut over to Can of Tuna for a second here. Tuna.
I just realized I have the flaw. I am easily distracted, so I probably stopped paying attention to Kovacs long ago, and probably having a conversation with somebody who's interested in buying my axe beak.
Incredible. I love that. In that case, easily distracted. Go ahead and give me a perception check with disadvantage here as you're negotiating for the sale of your axe.
Yeah, it's last year's model, but it gets good mileage.
I rolled a 3.
Cool. So the music is loud. You're distracted. You're talking about selling your axe beak. Go ahead. You see that there is this member of the Copper Knight clan is going, right, well, I just want to be clear. How old is this axe beak? How old was it when you bought it? How many years have you had it for?
I had it for about a year. It's a little temperamental, but it doesn't eat much.
Right, understood. Right, go ahead and make a persuasion check for me, if you would be so kind.
2.
Hey, well, I've listened to your description of the axe beak here, and it sounds... The selling points of the axe beak in particular seem few and far between. Is that fair to say? I'll tell you what, if you throw in the axe beak, I'm rather interested in this armor you're wearing here. Is there any element of this that's for sale?
At that point, I will open up panels in the side of the armor, and these devices come out on either side that look like sound speakers, and my voice gets really deep as my eyes light up and says, "Get away from the armor."
Sorry, right? No, I understand. As you say that, you see there's like a couple other artificers around who immediately all like whistle and just walk off, like as they zoom off, marveling at this creation of yours, this like silenced full plate mail.
Once they're all gone, I'll sort of recompose myself and bring all the equipment back in.
It sort of slides back into this mechanical marvel there. Go ahead now that you sort of, like negotiations have fallen through with this dwarf. Go ahead, if you'd be so kind, and give me another perception check.
9.
Cool. You look over and see a couple of dwarves. You see that these dwarves are heavily armored, don't look like Copper Knight clan dwarves. These look like mountain dwarf, like thick braided beards. You see that the beards don't have rings interwoven into them. They have almost the equivalent of what greaves are for your shin. The strands of their beard have like slivers of plate mail across them so that even their beards are armored. Heavy dwarven battle axes behind them. And you see thick dwarven runes tattooed on the space in between their ears and their eyes, sort of wrapping around onto their forehead, underneath to their cheekbones. And you see that they're kind of like muttering in Dwarven to each other. Does Tuna speak Dwarven or no?
Tuna does, in fact, speak Dwarvish. And probably, if these guys are not strangers, she might know. She probably hangs out with a lot of dwarves, so if they seem like they're wearing like local colors or they're from a clan that she would know.
These guys are not big in this part of the 10 Towns region.
Makes sense.
They are part of a group of dwarven criminals. So they are part of a fallen dwarf clan that dishonored itself and now mostly lives in non-dwarven settlements, like engaging in like black market trade, getting up to like, they'll like, you know, knock off another dwarven caravan. They're called the Kovack. And you see that one of these dudes is talking to another one, speaking in this thick dwarven accent. And you see he gestures over to Kovack.
My eyes on my visor narrow. Like they can't really because they're like metal, but they do.
You see these two heavily armored dwarves that are, again, like if you called them a crime syndicate, they would be horribly offended. They're like, no, we are a family, we are a clan of dwarves like any other. But effectively, these are like in the way that some clans are like, we're armorers or we're brewers. These are like, we are criminals.
Noted. Logging insult for later.
You see that they both head off deeper into the snow, having clocked Kovack, and they head off. Right at that moment, you guys hear a ringing of big gongs, fireworks go off, and standing up on a giant mountain of ale barrels that have just been wheeled out is Krina Copper Knight, who, with a thunderous voice, raises her magic warhammer aloft. She's got fiery red hair, a little bit of she shaves her chin and her upper lip, but leaves a sort of mutton choppy thing that comes down with some bright rings tied into it. Thick armor. She goes, right! To all those gathered here at the Great Knucklehead Rally, I say an auspicious beginning to the greatest festival of Icewind Dale! Pew, 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 pew. Some of her cousins and one of her husbands launches these fireworks off. Things go off. She says, and a salute to the many great vendors and musicians, and here she salutes directly to Roussimoff, that have brought a little warmth and good cheer into the middle of this so-called Frost Maiden's fucking never-ending winter! And she puts a big middle finger into the air, calling out a goddess directly. I think Selene, you witnessed this as well. And this clocks with her cousins talking about her in the tent of like, this person maybe is not correctly cautious about some things. Raises her war and says, the ice fishing tournament is set to begin. We also have a lovely ice sculpture contest occurring around the corner, and there will be a festival and reading of thespian arts, as well as some other non-officially sanctioned contests, which I have heard about. Word gets around, and let me just say, if you're gonna do it, cut me in! She looks out and says, all of you here enjoy in the riches of Icewind Dale, and let the great festival. With that, you guys hear a noise as a screeching snow owl flies in from the snow, followed quickly by an Arctic fox and a river otter, all of whom rush up, leap to the top of the barrels, these cute little critters. You see that the snowy owl alights and speaks with a voice, saying, friends of 10 towns and the Icewind Dale, I am a talking owl, as many of you...
It's very direct, all right?
As many of you can tell, I know that not every owl can talk. I am an exception. My friends here are exceptions as well. You may call me Ollie. Right now, we bring word. An army of Verbeeg now descend here on this place. They believe that some of their riches of their leader, Echelak, have been stolen and brought here to this place against the will of their leader. immediately the riddle solves itself. The wealth of this festival was maybe acquired by some ill-gotten means. Giants, the Verbeeg descend on this place now. There are several opportunities for us to hold the tide, but everyone here is in great danger. You see that a cry goes up from the people here. Very quickly, you guys here, is there anything that you do in this moment as you hear this kind of like revelation go off in front of the group?
I check talking animals off my bingo card, Icewind Dale bingo card, and then I will put it away, and I will go to Kovack.
Incredible. You rush over to Kovack. You alight over here. Krina calls out, speaks to the animals very briefly, calls out and says, "All right, there is no cause for alarm. Everyone here, we have many brave adventurers here to defend this place from any kind of onslaught. Any who are non-combatants, gather yourself in the center of the encampment as best you can." You see that the animals say, yes, for everyone gathered here, the leader of we come from a band of awakened animals. Our leader, Mother Tusk, a wise walrus who resides by the shore. She is trapped in our cave. If there are any here who could help us by journeying to her cave to potentially rescue her, I know that she would be able to help us against these incoming giants. As well, not far from here, there is a diviner, Ness, who may be able to scry upon these giants as they approach, if her help can be gathered. You hear Krina say, "Aye, and as well as that, there are friends of our group gathered here not far. There are wolf nomads of the on the glacier who I know would help us fend off these Verbeeg that are as much a threat to their home as ours." You see, the last thing is the Arctic fox speaks up and says, "Also, we sniffed on the way out here that there's a by the way, I also can talk. So that's just, I am also a talking fox."
Yes, we understood that. Yes, please go on.
Okay, if anyone's freaking out about me being a talking fox and you need a moment to process, I'm happy to provide that space for you.
No one's
I feel like they
freaking
have
out.
to
Please
explain
continue.
this every time. I mean, people must ask them so many questions. They seem so prepared to answer these questions, and it must happen all the time.
We do get it a lot.
The otter talk.
You see that the fox says, there's a paddock of mammoths some short distance away from here. We think it's probably mounts for the Verbeeg army. If they get on those bad boys, oh brother, it's gonna be quite bad, let me assure you. You see Krina starts just like grabbing adventurers, trying to delegate out like what the like who's going to go to each of these. For those of you gathered here, you hear this horrifying news of this encroaching Verbeeg army. But what do all of you do as this like ruckus descends on the gathering?
I'm gonna make a beeline for Kovack.
Yeah.
And as soon as I get over there, I'm gonna just sort of open up my pack and show her the scepter. So I know where some of the stuff is, I think, that they're looking for.
Well, sounds like we're in here for a shoot and loot. And she pulls out a hat of disguise and puts it on and turns into like a normal human. Like, if things disappear while we defend the encampment, that can't be helped.
Can Rande go speak with Karina real quick?
Oh yeah, with Karina, yes, absolutely. Rande, you walk up to see Karina Copper Knight. Busy delegated. She looks up and says, "Right, friend."
I just a moment of your time. I know you are very busy with the defenses. I just wanted to know, does this cancel the festivities? My client.
The festivities are not cancelled. Not cancelled. If we cancel the fishing tournament, then the Giants win. All right? That's what they want. I imagine that they are motivated primarily by a desire for us to have a ruined party. All right? so we're not gonna give them the satisfaction.
Right, yes, of course. We are all on the same side here. Are we going to be paid for our services? My client doesn't work for free. That's all I wanted to know.
She narrows her eyes and says, aye, we can make it worth your while. What's your name, stranger?
My name is Rande Sav'age, at your service.
Right. Aye, we'll make it worth your while.
Wonderful. That's all I needed to hear. Kovack, the Tuna, Roussimoff. Let's find a central place to get. Oh, they're all in meeting. I'll go find them. And I'll go towards them.
Incredible. You go off and join them. So you guys gather around. Marigold and the Strawberries, really quick, try to sign Roussimoff to a deal, and then the sort of chaos breaks out, and she's like, "Don't worry, we'll get together later." And you guys gather around here. So obviously, you guys have some opportunities here depending on how roguish you want to be. There are a number of these tasks that have been set forward by Krina and these animals who have come in to warn the festivities here. However, you also know that you have these other skulking, skullduggery, Iffic acquaintances of yours gathering around, and a little bit of room for chaos as the tournament commences. What is it that you all wish to do?
I mean, if we need someone to blame for all this, I know the perfect patsy.
Selene, you become more and more precious to me every day. You're the daughter I never had.
Thank you. That means a lot. But yeah, my shitty ex is here, and if we just want to pin all the thefts on him, maybe they will leave, the town and the children and everyone alone.
I like where your head's at. Anyone else? All I can think of is those mammoths and how badly I don't want big things to get on top of them.
Right. Yes. Well, I'm not much for skullduggery. I'm more of a out in the open showman. So I believe Roussimoff, Tuna, you might feel the same way. Roussimoff, might I say, that was very interesting music you played earlier.
That was you?
There is so much adrenaline going through me right now, guys. I just feel like I can just go a mile a minute on this one. I'm down for whatever, thank you so much.
You, sir, are talent wasted.
Yes, you should have gotten paid for that performance. I do agree.
You know what, now that I think about it, and Roussimoff looks at this little portrait piece of paper, and he's like, his sister's head still missing from it, and he's like,
I still got a lot more to do. Yeah, let's make this right. Let's be heroes. He looks around.
Okay, but just for today.
Well, we are getting paid. I did confirm that we are getting paid for our services.
Oh, we're getting paid? Yeah, let's save the town.
Yes.
This is great.
Incredible. Krina walks up to you guys as you gather together, and says, "Right. Well, we have a number of." Says, "There are plenty of people who are trained enough to stay here and start making some defenses for the tournament. However, we need people that are a little bit more rough and tumble to go out for these other tasks. I don't know the specifications of your group. Do you feel more able to range a little farther afield to go after these mammoths, or is one of these, or getting aid from some of these other allies closer by? The mammoth thing is definitely probably the most dangerous, I would imagine. But she says, the diviner and those nomads would also be a great help, and the animals do need that help with their friends. Whatever you feel most inclined to be able to do, we need you to go do it right now."
I believe Kovack has mentioned mammoths, and I agree. I would love to see some mammoths today.
I do better out of town than in.
Ah.
Let's find the mammoths.
I think that could be quite hilarious.
Incredible. You guys take off from the tournament, being led by this Arctic fox. Starts moving along and says, Wow, you guys are real heroes doing this out of the pure goodness of your heart. That's really, really special.
No one tell the fox.
Yes, of course.
You guys look confused. I mentioned I can talk, right?
Oh, so many times now.
You mentioned it a couple times. We've been talking back and forth this entire time. Yeah, it's
so much has happened today. Frost metal was invented before our eyes.
That is true.
It's hard to
a
keep
great
track.
thing.
Like, is it weird for you that you can talk? Because I feel like you're a little bit more gobsmacked about it than the rest of us.
Oh yeah, this is not this is druid magic. We're all awakened animals. So this was so I remember an enormous period of the beginning of my life where I was sentient but not sapient, and then this spell happened and I came into a horrifying awareness of self.
Yeah, shut up. Your father must be very proud.
I thought that was great. Like, so
Mommy
before
and
you
Daddy must be
were
very
living in a constant state of now, and now you can see the horror about future and time. You can process that.
Aware of my own mortality, completely aware of ego and ego death.
Do you still live only like 3 years?
What's that?
You still live only like 3 years?
Oh yeah, I have nothing even close to a human lifespan. I saw my parents, and they are still animals, and I love them because they're my parents. But I exist on a mental level completely beyond their ability to comprehend.
Oh my god.
So there's a tremendous, horrifying distance just forever in my family.
Wait a minute. We have a looming threat on its way here, correct?
Yeah, oh, it's an imminent disaster.
No, keep going. I want to see where you're going with this.
Oh, you mean like reckoning with my own mortality and its extreme likelihood up to and including the next 3 hours?
Yeah, being in nothingness is a real mind trip. Ignorance is bliss most days.
Graeth pops a mushroom into his mouth.
Graeth pops a mushroom. You see, the artifact says, yeah, I'm really glad to be able to talk because it's an amazing ability and it's made it way easy to survive. But also some days I just fall into a pit in the middle of myself and I wish that druid had never cast this spell on me. Do you have another one of those mushrooms?
So many.
I wouldn't mind popping one of those because it seems like it's helping you cope with whatever's going on.
They're just criminy mushrooms. They don't do anything. Here.
Oh, dang it. Okay, well, the mammoths are this way. And takes off. You guys journey off across the frozen lake up through a small range of mountains overhead. Very like, they're not true mountains. They're more just like a craggy kind of ridge. What do you guys do on your approach to this area? Is anyone making any perception or nature or survival checks?
Well, I'll look for tracks of the mammoth.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for anyone approaching.
Cool.
If a mammoth herd surprises us, we deserve to die.
Go ahead real quick and give me a survival check, or you can give me perception.
Whoever's closest to me. We'll make it Selene. I want to cast guidance on Selene.
Cool.
Okay. Even
my end.
Cool.
Dirty 20 I rolled before I even got the guidance.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Ooh,
Hell yeah. Amazing. Graeth, with that 13, before long you clock an old set of mammoth tracks. They are enormous. They are accompanied by paw prints, but not quadrupedal paw prints. Large. You're guessing humanoid. These are definitely not Verbeeg. You're guessing there's some other group helping them that have helped to corral the mammoths here. With that dirty 20 perception check, Selene, you guys are being followed here. You're being followed from the tournament to this neck of the woods.
Yeah, someone's following us.
Do they look like dwarves?
What can I tell about them?
You what you're hearing is, with your keen sense of hearing, is the clanking of armor. And as Tuna says that, are they dwarves? You hear a soundness and sturdiness to their steps, that their steps are not long strides. You're guessing that these are dwarves trudging in kind of classic dwarven fashion through the deep snow, coming towards you.
I mean, they're short and armored and trudging, so probably.
I couldn't help but notice back in town that there were some cadre Kovack Dwarven criminal syndicate members keeping a close eye on Kovacs. I hope that's not too much exposition.
That's very specific, and I wish you had mentioned it sooner. Okay, good to know. Battle on two fronts. And she just steps behind a tree.
I'm gonna need everyone here to we're gonna do a group stealth check. So everyone roll stealth and let me know what you
Oh,
get.
finally.
Okay.
16 for Can of Tuna.
Incredible.
20. Oh,
Dirty 20 for Kovack.
16, 20, a dirty 20 for Kovack. What did Selene get?
26.
26. Woo, very roguey. What did Graeth get?
19.
Wow. What did Rande get?
I got a 15.
15. Awesome. What did Roussimoff get?
22.
Oh,
Wow.
Look at us.
Lowest roll.
Dang.
Gang, in the dim light, you are wandering with a couple of seasoned rogues, with a druid helping you navigate the wilderness. You guys slink down in a small, almost like cove of rock, where the ridge has two kind of like spurs that diagonally slope down, creating this little hidden, almost natural paddock. You see about 30 massive woolly mammoths. These are some enormous Icewind Dale. They've got like primary tusks and secondary tusks coming out from underneath them, massive domed heads. You all see that there are about 10 gnolls down in the paddock. Sort of like prodding at the mammoths. I'm gonna say you guys are basically invisible at this point. That stealth check, we only needed half of you to pass. All of you passed the passive perception of the sentinels here. Truly titanic success. You look down. Actually, go ahead and anyone here that wants to give me a. I would say give me perception checks or insight checks, depending on what you want to look out for.
17 for insight.
Graeth got a 22 for insight.
Graeth, on a 22. Did anyone else beat a 22 or no?
No.
22 insight. Graeth. 8 of the gnolls are sort of focusing on the mammoths here. One of them is kind of doing a loose, scattered patrol. He's the guy who's fucking up right now by not noticing you. And there is another sentinel posted at the entrance to this area. And by entrance, I mean loosely. These mammoths came over the ridge to get here, but at the kind of flat opening where you suspect the Verbeeg giants are going to be coming from, you see a gnoll keeping lookout, not as a sentry against incursion, but as the like welcoming committee, someone like posted up looking out for people. You can also tell these mammoths on that 22 insight are incredibly agitated. These gnolls have not been treating these animals well. These mammoths haven't been fed in a long time. They are aggressive, upset, and angry. Your druidic sense would also tell you that these mammoths are scared of the gnolls and really dislike the gnolls as well. They are also just a general danger right now to anyone who gets close to them. Like these are not like they're not super rational, right? They've been mishandled, they're upset, and they're very agitated. You guys are still under the cloak of that stealth. However, you know that you have left fresh tracks in the snow for those dwarves who are coming up behind you. So even though you're in a good hiding spot right now, it will not be available to you forever.
I mutter all that to the group. The herd is spooked. They're abusing the mammoth.
Maybe we can drive them to Stampede.
Ah, yes, use them to our advantage. I like that idea.
May I?
Please.
She just gets excited and like prowls a little forward on all fours, and her claws turn a frosty blue. And I'm gonna cast Shatter in the center of where this paddock is.
Hell yeah. Are you casting it only to frighten these mammoths or to damage them as well?
Are the mammoths cute?
That's important, Brennan. Answer it.
I'm gonna go ahead and roll.
How cute are they compared to the Arctic fox, who I would die for?
Also, can they talk?
Yeah.
You see, one of the mammoths turns up to you guys and says, "Don't worry, I can't talk."
Good. We feel no pity.
I'm gonna roll a charisma check for these mammoths real quick. Hold on.
Yeah.
On a natural 15, these guys are adorable.
Okay.
I mean, they're very fuzzy. I think that they may be cute is the wrong word, but in that way that large herbivore creatures always are. You see, they have these like extremely big doe eye, like brown eyes with like long eyelashes. They look like they're agitated, but mostly they just want to get away and just eat some plant matter and be left alone for the most part.
The way they flap their ears at you too, you're just like,
Oh, yeah, she was gonna cast it a certain way, and then one of them makes eye contact. So the three cutest ones are gonna receive my careful spell as I use a sorcery point to not hit them, but like the gnolls, I don't care about.
Hell yes. Gang, I'm gonna need everybody here to go ahead and roll initiative for me if you would be so kind.
all right.
Oh.
Can of Tuna rolled a 16.
Okay, we'll go person by person here. Can of Tuna got a 16. As we're setting this up, hold on 1 second. Okay, Can of Tuna got a 16. Did anyone get above a 20 on their initiative? No? Did anyone get above a 15?
Yes.
19.
8.
A 19. So Kovack got a 19.
Graeth got an 18.
Graeth got an 18. Then Tuna with the 16. Then did anyone get above a 10?
I got an 11. Rande got an 11.
I got a 12. Roussimoff.
Roussimoff got a 12, and Rande got an 11. And what did Selene get?
An 8.
Oh, you're muted.
I shouldn't be.
Oh, no, you're fine now. Yeah.
Okay, an 8.
Awesome. Incredible. So this is perfect. Kovack, you jump out and take this action. So we're actually going to leap right into you at the top of initiative. And Kovack, I'm going to say that because you kind of, without warning, jump into this, you're actually going to go ahead and trigger the surprised condition on everybody else in the battle. But because you're the top of the initiative, you're actually going to be able to just take 2 actions right now. Because you take your surprise round, everybody comes out of surprised, and then we move right into initiative again. So your first thing you do is cast Shatter, and then you're going to kick off the battle again.
Nice.
I'm going to roll, there's 10 gnolls down here. I'm going to roll just to see, I'm going to roll 1d4 to see how many are in the scope of your Shatter spell. That's a 2, so you're going to catch 2 gnolls here in the spell as well. Awesome. Go ahead and roll damage if you would be so kind.
17 thunder damage.
Whoa.
Assuming they make the DC 13 save.
Oh, is it, wait, so it's 17 and they can save for half?
Yeah.
Okay, copy that. Awesome. That's a DC 13 save from these gnolls. That is 2 failures. Both these gnolls are up, but very hurt. You boom with a crackle of thunder. And with this free action, I'm going to ask for an animal handling check. But I'm going, because this is magic, I'm going to allow you to sub in charisma instead of wisdom here for this animal handling. I'm going to say that you can cause a movement of them on a 10 or higher, and a full stampede on a 15 or higher.
Okay. No, I didn't get it. I'm at a 9.
A 9.
Yeah.
The spell goes off. You badly hurt the gnolls, but you see that the arcane threat of this is so otherworldly that the mammoth's natural instincts don't lend them. In other words, they freeze in between fight or flight due to the incredible arcane nature of the spell. Amazing. And Kovack, lead us off with your first turn in initiative order as people come out of the surprise condition.
Sweet. As she yells, honestly, same, to the doesn't do anything useful or helpful. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna cast Bless. I can't catch everyone, but let's go Roussimoff, Graeth, Rande, and Tuna. You all have Bless on you now.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you kindly.
Maybe you can do better than I did. I'm just gonna be over here trying not to die.
Incredible. Graeth, you are next to act. Now, to give people more of an idea about sort of the space you're in, you guys are about 30 feet up an incline of difficult terrain. So you kind of have a height advantage for range stuff right now. You're 30 feet up this ridgeline from a paddock that is about 80 feet by 80 feet of this natural kind of cove of the ridge. These 10 knolls are scattered throughout. About, I would say probably about like a handful, like 3 or 4 are close by enough to kind of like quickly close distance. And the rest are scattered throughout this larger paddock, meaning they are immediate threats, but might be more than a round away from actually closing melee distance with you. Graeth, that is your turn.
Oh dear. I'm going to move down the incline a little bit and reach out my green scabby hand and cast Entangle and pull up grasping vines underneath those 4 that are closest to us.
Awesome. They are all going to roll, I believe that's dexterity save, correct?
Yes.
Actually strength savings.
Strength to hold, yeah.
Hell yeah. We got 4 gnolls. Got to make some moves here. What do we got, gang?
Beat a 13.
You see immediately that 2 of the gnolls, you hear a familiar voice deep underneath the snow say, "We remember the kindness you did to our brethren. Let us come to your aid." Roiling lichen surges up through the frost, grabs 2 of the gnolls who sink past their head into the snow as the lichen restrains them, as just their claws cling to the top for fear of being lost to their companions beneath the ice.
Liking what I'm seeing.
That was yours.
You're in that one.
Check.
Incredible. Tuna, that is going to be you.
Okay, I will rush up next to Kovack and say,
Good try.
and then I will take out my other mechanical mouse. This one squeaks, and I will slingshot it into the mammoth pack.
Incredible. What effect does this marvelous mechanical mouse hold?
It squeaks. I heard or read somewhere that, elephants are scared of mice, so I'm going to give this a try.
Hell yeah. Go ahead. Same thing. I'm going to go ahead and say this is animal handling, but I will allow you to substitute your intelligence modifier for wisdom.
That's so generous. Okay, so let's see. That's going to be 16.
16.
Yes.
Oh my God. Is there a direction that you would like to move these mammoths in? Remember,
I want to move them toward the entangled knolls.
Oh man, cool. That means you are going to be moving them towards you guys.
That sounds fun.
Okay, here we go. Blam! You fire a little squeaking mouse. You guys just see a little boom, slingshot.
Goes poof in the snow.
Yeah, poof. It goes. The nearby mammoth kind of regards it, and suddenly a little mouse pops up, spinning a little wind up on its back, and just goes. And you hear. And these guys rush directly towards you, away from this mouse. I'm going to roll. Only 3 of the knolls are on the far side of these, so there's another 7. We've already established that there are 2 in the midst where that shatter went off. So we're gonna roll dex saves for 2. Oh, the 2 knolls in the middle that already got hit by that shatter are obliterated. You see them like pop up into the air like rag dolls and then just disappear under the thundering feet of these mammoths. I believe that with an entangle, these guys are restrained, and with the restrained condition, automatically fail their dex saves. Double checking. No, they do get it. They have disadvantage on it.
Hey, DM.
Yes.
Seeing as this is a real game of D&D, I have to run to the bathroom, and I hereby dub Chris Perkins to make all my saves for me. I'll be right back.
Yes, an incredible biological feat is occurring right now by everybody staying in their seats right here. That's a failed save. That's a failed save. Incredible. And then we're going to roll 2 normal saves for the other ones that are nearby you.
Tuna, this is horrifyingly effective. Mind-boggling, truly.
Yeah, this is incredible. You see that the 2 that are buried in the snow by the entangle have no chance of avoiding getting crushed. However, they were at full health when they went under. So you hear them like the snow is partially like spreading out the horrifying weight that gets put on them by these mammoths. Another one gets hit and rolls to the side, and then another one of the 4 near you is unharmed. After Graeth, that's Tuna, that's your turn. I'm also going to roll a flat luck check to see if these mammoths have the wherewithal to stampede up the side of the ridge, and rather than getting stopped by the natural sort of slope of the incline. You guys don't want a 10 or lower, and you definitely don't want a 5 or lower.
Please roll well.
Gang, that is a 5. So
we wanted our own mammoth, right?
I want to keep one.
We did sell the axe beak, so.
Incredible. Thankfully, as I have stated already, this is difficult terrain, so they may not be able to close with you in this round. But we are going to find out the hard way. Oh my lord, this is so much fun. Cool. These guys' speed is 40 feet. Even on a double move, they move 80, which is only 40 on difficult terrain. They were not at the very edge of the paddock. So these mammoths are going, and you guys watch a stampede roar towards you. They are 10 feet away from you, barreling towards you at top speed.
Tight.
Cool.
Incredible. Tuna, your plan worked.
Perfectly.
I think this is a great artificer moment. This is very shades of Dr. Ian Malcolm of like, science always asks what it can do, not what it should do. Incredible. Following Tuna in initiative order is Roussimoff. That's you.
Oh, God. 10 feet away?
10 feet away.
Roussimoff's eyes get really large. Oh no. I could stop them. Oh, but they're so cute. No. Yeah, I gotta get tough on this. Okay.
And Roussimoff casts Shatter at the ones charging directly in front of the party.
Awesome. Can I show them what's in front of the party? Go ahead and roll damage. And additionally, go ahead once again and give me that. I'll say either take animal handling or honestly intimidate in this moment is fine as well.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. Let's see what we got here. Ooh, nope. The wrong one.
The voice is sending me. I love it.
So good.
Yeah, I just like, guys. It's been a long day. I mean, performance, I usually go back to the green room and just hang out, but, wow. 18. And then animal handling?
Yeah. Animal handling or intimidate, whichever one you prefer.
Oh, let's do intimidate for sure then. 22.
22. Incredible. You throw up this shatter, strum a hard note on that lute. Sonic energy flies out in front of you. With that 22 intimidate, the herd stops. But you can tell they are panicking. You deal your damage to these mammoths. You can see visibly these guys got hit points and then some. So let me know how much damage your shatter does.
Shatter does 18.
Cool. The herd, the front two mammoths that you're able to hit soak the damage without a problem, but the sound just terrifies them because again, it's something else unnatural happening. Roussimoff, you have halted the stampede. Randay, that is going to be you.
Okay. So Randay is going to slowly and very carefully and methodically start just unbuttoning his shirt. And don't worry, I have a different shirt underneath this. And he is going to say, well, I was going to have a whole thing, but I suppose this is the audience I'm given. So, ladies and gentlemen, creatures from all races, from different places, and also woolly mammoths, what you are about to see can only be described as the muscular marvel of the modern world. Everybody tell everybody what you saw here and repeat it so I have some notoriety. And as he unbuttons his shirt, you see like a well-built chest, but as he continues to do this, he starts to change. His body begins to shift and undergo a transformation where his muscles enlarge and he gains almost a foot of height, and his ponytail unravels into a mess of unkempt hair, and he takes his glasses off and puts it very carefully in his pocket, and he says, yeah! Ooh, the Sav'age is ready! And he is going to use his uncommon magic item, which was the boots of springing and striding, to jump over these mammoths and land next to the gnolls. And he's going to say, ooh, I got all y'all for 1 minute. because that's the limit of a barbarian's rage. So stay right there. I'm gonna kick your little butts. And he's gonna pull out his great sword. Also, when a barbarian of this kind rages, a wild magic effect happens. So I'm gonna roll for that real quick. Okay.
Snap into a Slim Jim.
He gets it. Roussimoff gets it. I got a 6. Okay, until my rage ends, I am surrounded by a multicolored protective lights. I gain a +1 bonus to AC, and while within 10 feet of me, my allies also gain the same bonus. So stay near my muscles if you want some protection. So he is going to make a great sword swing at the nearest enemy, which I assume is a gnoll that we're fighting.
You are in the midst of the herd right now, who have suddenly kind of bumper to bumper stopped as this shatter has gone off. And you land, you are squaring up. This is, I gotta say, Roussimoff looking it down, this is one of the most metal things you've ever seen. You are squaring off. These mammoths are large enough that you are running under their torsos, like their legs are the stalks of these giant trees, and you see 2 of these gnolls. One of them has already been badly trampled and is up. The other one is fully uninjured. Both of them are definitely within movement for you to close on them.
Great. I'll go for one of those, and I will attack with my very, very, very large muscles and greatsword.
Don't forget you have bless on you.
Oh, I do have bless. That's a D4, I believe, if I need it.
No, you just add it.
You just have it.
Oh, I just have it. Oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
It sticks around too.
Ooh, okay, so that is 13. So that is a 16 total.
You hit. You can be going after the wounded one right now, or the uninjured one, whichever one you prefer.
I'll go after the wounded one. Let's finish him off.
Hell yeah. Go for it. Go ahead and roll damage.
Okay, let's see what my damage here is. Ooh, yeah, 2d6. I'll take that. So that is 11 damage.
11 damage. You see these gnolls look at you. I don't know if anyone here speaks Gnollish, but you see that speaks Gnoll. But you you jump in close. Badly injured Gnoll, having been trampled, sees you with glasses in your pocket, and then like swirls of magic. This Gnoll just says in Gnollish, like, "What the hell am I looking at here?" And you decapitate him in one swing of your sword. Pow! Head flies off, and a plume of blue sparking wild magic shoots out of his just open neck as his body collapses.
You're looking at the main event! The Sav'age is here!
You guys see the little Arctic fox with you, eyes wide, just goes, "Woo!" Just gets hype. You
love it.
Completely move over there. See, the other uninjured gnoll is completely hard. It's like beyond anything these gnolls have seen before. A like wild magic barbarian, just so deeply unsettling. You give him
next. You're next.
Randit, is your turn. Selene, that is going to be you.
Okay, how far is the Sav'age from me at the moment?
He has sprung over. He's still within normal movement. But he's like sprung over. So unless you had a means of matching that jump, you might have to make an acrobatics check to get through these mammoth's legs to join him in the midst of the herd.
I mean, I can also move at double speed with feline agility, if that would work.
Hell yes, that works great. We'll call it difficult terrain. Lightning fast, you zoom through the legs of these mammoths and clear. Again, you have 2 gnolls that are captured by Graeth's binding entanglement, partially under the snow, and you would definitely have advantage on attacks against them. There's also this fully uninjured gnoll that is quite nearby, within melee range of both you and Randé.
So that would still be a sneak attack on him then?
Yes, that is correct.
Cool, I'm going to attack that one.
Hell yeah.
And that is a 13.
13, unfortunately does not, you're not under bless, are you?
No, I'm not.
Cool. Unfortunately, a 13 does not hit. You slide in, lash out with one of your weapons, and this gnoll catches you on a thick, stumpy wooden shield.
Bonus action, two-weapon fighting. I'm gonna hit him with my non-magical short sword. And that is a 16 to hit.
16 hits. Go ahead and roll damage, and this will be with sneak attack.
Yep. Okay. That is 9 plus 13 damage.
Ooh, you lay into this gnoll. Short sword signs purchase deep in his rib cage, and you feel something burst inside him as he howls out in pain, not dropped, but badly injured. And that is finally going to be the gnoll's turn, I'm afraid. This gnoll is going to lash out with its spear, attacking Selene, who just attacked him. Selene, on an 18, I believe this gnoll does close with you and hit you, and we're going to roll damage for him right now as he attacks with this spear.
You do have a +1 to AC if you're near me. I don't know if that helps.
No, but that still only gets me to 16.
No, unfortunately, this gnoll got an 18 on its attack roll, but only deals 3 points of damage as stabs forth with a spear. These other two gnolls are going to attempt, are going to use their actions to make strength saves against Graeth to get away from these entanglements. And those are actually going to be 2 successes, but they spend their entire turn getting out of the spell and lose their action. However, both of them slink through the mammoths to close in. So now there are 3 gnolls, all of them badly injured, but there are 3 gnolls surrounding Selene and Rande in the midst of the mammoths. The other 5 gnolls scattered further afield, all of them take a movement to get closer, running around the edges of the paddock, sort of behind the herd that was fleeing away from them, and are going to take shots with longbows against the spellcasters up on the ridge. Let's go ahead here. Graeth, one's going to come for you. That's a natural 1. That is a miss. We're going to go with Roussimoff and Kovack as well. Roussimoff, 1 goes after you for, that's going to be a hit on you. For Kovack, that's going to be a hit on you as well.
I use shield.
That's not going to be a hit on you. Ping! An arrow flies off. Nice. And what is Tuna's armor class?
18.
Oof. Oh my goodness. That is no hits on Tuna. So the only person who gets hit here is Roussimoff. Roussimoff, you take 7 points of piercing damage as a gnollish longbow arrow flies off the ridge as they close in. And Kovack, you throw out this magical shield. Tuna, ping, patang, ping, armor. As you completely protected from this, Graeth, you're like low to the ground, hunkered down in this primal crouch as the arrow zips over your head. And that is the gnoll's turn. 3 are closed around our melee combatants, with another 5 closing in around the edges. That is now going to go back to the top of the order. Kovack, that's you again.
Yeah, she's gonna sprint away from these mammoths just in case they get rowdy again. And yeah, let's just go a firebolt at the one that attempted to hit me. Easy peasy.
Hell yes.
It's an 18 to hit.
18 definitely hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
1 point of fire damage.
Oh no. You singe this gnoll. He looks, if anything, insulted. He's like, why are you fucking with me that way? but he continues to sprint around the edge, coming after you. Any bonus actions from Kovack?
No. I think I'm okay right now.
Cool. Graeth, that's back to your turn.
Would I be able to back up a bit and hold an action and wait for the other gnolls to close on my companions and throw fairy fire on them? I would wait till they got close and throw it behind them to spare my teammates.
Yes, you may absolutely hold an action. These you have right now. You have 3 gnolls coming around the right flank, 2 coming around the left flank. If you want to wait until their next turn, they will absolutely close that distance and all be within range of that spell.
I'll do that.
Hell yeah. Awesome. That is going to be Tuna.
All right. Are there any particularly injured gnolls?
Yes. All of the gnolls that are engaged in melee with your friends right now are injured and injured badly.
I'll move up to 35 feet just to get a clear shot at one of them without endangering any of the mammoths or agitating them in any way. And then a aperture will open in the palm of my hand armor, and a jewel will emerge and set itself there, and then a blast of lightning will fire forth from that jewel, forming a bolt that tries to target this creature. I rolled a 17 to hit.
Oh yes, that is definitely going to hit.
Then it takes 7 lightning damage.
Incredible. This gnoll is close to death's door. As you hit it, you guys watch this alchemical marvel as lightning courses from Tuna's outstretched hand, crackling across the body of this gnoll. Amazing. Anything else from Tuna?
That's it for me.
That's going to go back to the mammoths, who right now are badly agitated, and there's a bunch of scary magic happening. I'm going to roll a straight luck check because they don't want to stay here. You want a higher number rather than a lower number. That is a 19 on the die. I'm going to say, well, that's a very lucky number for you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and say, is there I'll say Graeth, because you're holding an action, you're like holding off on the initiative. If you want to give me a animal handling check to attempt to steer the direction of the stampede from here, go for it.
I rolled a 14.
Cool. Is there any subtle suggestion? They're not going to continue up the hillside, but if you wanted them to veer right or left or to just go straight off into the woods as far as possible, any of those options are available to you.
Yes, I want them to back away from me and run, so I just draw my head back and... These mammoths turn and fully just book it out of the clearing. There are no more gnolls posted behind them. However, all of the gnolls who are still within the herd, as well as, I'm afraid, Selene and Rande, I'm going to need dexterity saving throws from all of you.
Rande can, in fact, add a d4.
I don't think it's going to help much because I rolled a 3.
Oh, beans.
Crunch.
Oh, no. And what did Selene get?
19.
Hey, not bad.
That tracks.
Hell yes. That's going to be... Selene, you only take 9 points of bludgeoning damage as these mammoths trample past you. However, Rande, you take 19 points of bludgeoning damage. However, you are in a rage, so that is halved to 9 as well.
Yeah! Tough! Tough as bricks! Bring it on, man! Let's do it again! Let's go!
I will also say, however, every single one of the gnolls in combat with all of you is obliterated. The mammoths just crushed them.
Wow.
Boom, boom, boom. All of them were at 9 or less hit points. So
mission accomplished.
That is the mammoth's turn, and the mammoths quickly just start to clear away from you guys, heading off into the woods. Following the mammoths, that's going to be Roussimoff.
Roussimoff doesn't celebrate. He just remembers, like, wait, didn't someone say
there were steps behind us or something? He's gonna spin around and see if he can see anything, if there's anyone around us, or...
Ooh, give me a free perception check with advantage.
Okay. Advantage?
Yep.
Okay, because I crit failed that first one. Okay. 17.
With the stump of a lit cigar in his mouth, you see there are 2 of these armored dwarves just standing at the top of the ridge, watching what's happening.
Roussimoff looks over, sees the smoking cigar, casts pyrotechnics on it.
Oh, yeah.
Why did I add that piece of flavor? Why did I add that flavor?
Take that, DM.
Serves me for painting the goddamn scene. Jesus.
Oh my god.
Amazing. Go ahead and roll damage.
Let's see. Well, he would be blinded. He would be.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah. So he would do target. Yeah. So the target explodes with a dazzling display of colors. Each creature within 10 feet of the target must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or become blinded until the end of my next turn. Thick black smoke comes out. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Let's go ahead and roll these saves. Ooh, on a natural 4 and a natural 7, this badass dwarven gangster takes the cigar from his mouth. Boom! It's full Looney Tunes. It banana peel splits their cigar, like, boom, blows up. Their beards are singed, smoke, and they both stumble, completely blinded by your spell.
That was... Roussimoff turns around to see if anyone saw.
I'll actually pull out my sending stone and go, outdone.
Incredible! After Roussimoff, Randay, that is your turn. Your immediate melee combatants are gone. You are no longer surrounded by mammoths as they have rushed past you, but you see 2 coming from the left, 3 coming from the right, both of them easily within a movement's distance from you as they're like actively shouldering their longbows and taking their spears out to engage in melee.
Avengers assemble!
Randay is going to just head towards the one on the left and basically just rear up his greatsword and go for like sort of a clothesline maneuver with it, running towards them, and yell at them, "You're in the danger zone, fella! You're in here with me!" And just take a big, large swipe at one of those gnolls. I'll make this reckless, so I have advantage.
Hell yeah! Go ahead and roll your attack.
Don't forget your D4.
Oh yeah, thank you. I'm blessed. Oh, should I? Oh, I'm still blessed. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We've got like 10 minutes left, so this is the time to be reckless.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So that is 19.
19, awesome. You get a 19 that absolutely hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
Gotcha. That is 13 damage.
Ooh, doctor. You slide in and absolutely slash one deep into the muscle of the shoulder and chest. He drops to one knee as you connect hard with this gnoll.
That's a home run, is what I call it. Oh yeah!
Yes,
Incredible.
We invented baseball today, too.
Selene, that's going to be you.
Yeah, since the Sav'age is such a great distraction over there, I'm gonna just move over, slide in, and sneak attack the one that he did. Is there one or two that he didn't hit on that side?
There's 2 on that side. He hit one of them.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go after the uninjured one then. With the short sword, that is another 13, so that doesn't hit. A bonus action with the other sword.
Oh, don't forget, some of us have bless on us still. I don't know.
I wasn't able to catch.
20. That's 21. I'm only hitting with the shittier sword, but anyway.
That is a hit, and sneak attack because you're within a melee of Randy.
Yeah,
Sneaky
that
cat.
is 14 damage.
Wow, nice.
Amazing. You run to this uninjured one. Whoom, immediately, both these gnolls have gone from fully at full health to badly injured and suddenly visibly aware of their imminent demise. That is going to go next in the order to the gnolls. 3 of them close with our little contingent of spellcasters up on the ridge, and the other 2 are each going to take a swing at Selene first.
If they're converging, this is when I would be letting go of fairy fire.
Absolutely. Go for it. Cast your spell.
It's done. I think they have to make a save.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Hold on 1 second.
Dex 13.
Hell yes. So what we're going to go ahead and do now is they're going to make these. There's 5 of them making these saves against 13. That's only 2 successes. As the gnolls close in, we're going to go ahead and say, you light off your spell. The gnolls rush in. The 2 that are next to Selene and the 2 that are actually, and this actually makes sense for them failing that save. The 2 next to Selene and Rande are blocked by the melee combatants and stave off that fairy fire spell. The 3 that are rushing you get hit full force. All attacks against them are going to be rolled with advantage. As you close in, you let go of that spell. Boom. The gnolls are going to rush forward. Let's see. Incredible. Yeah, any attack roll against an affected creature or object has advantage if the attacker can see it, and the affected creature or object can't benefit from being invisible.
Puppy.
Look at that little albino aurochs.
Does Milo talk?
Oh, it's our little Arctic fox.
Yeah,
So
that's
noble.
true.
He's so cute.
Mid-existential crisis.
Hey, Brennan, just to note, they also have advantage to attack me since I reckless attacked if they're attacking me.
Copy that. Selene, Graeth, Roussimoff, and Rande all get hit. Gonna roll damage now. That is 2 damage. Oh, sorry. That is 7 damage to Selene. That is 7 damage halved to 3 for Rande. That is 3 damage to Graeth. And that is 8 damage to Roussimoff. As these gnolls close in, that is the gnolls' turn. Kovack, that's going to be you.
Okay, so the reason I've been also kind of trying to peel off is I know that the people following us are interested in me because of what Tuna said. Do I see the dwarves on the hill, on the ridge?
Yes, you do. There's a big explosion of light, and they're both blinded right now.
Cool. Can I get over them if I use my feline agility?
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Sweet. So I head on over and strike while the iron is hot since they're blinded. And the one closest to me, I'm going to hit with inflict wounds.
Oh, hell yeah. Go ahead and roll in it. I guess there's an attack roll to hit with inflict wounds.
Yeah. I just want to take a picture.
Oh, no. Wait, is this a good picture?
It's a good picture.
Okay, cool.
Oh, my God.
Got a natural 20.
Yes.
Oh, that's
That
awesome.
is going. Yeah. Are you in your what level spell are you casting this?
It was gonna be at second level. That's because that's all I've got. So 4d10, double to 8d10.
That becomes 8d10 damage. Go ahead and roll.
Kovack, bring in the pain.
Okay, that's
In the apocalypse.
23 doubled. I can't do math. 46 points of necrotic damage.
This cat has claws.
These dwarves are no joke. These are some serious veteran enforcers of this dwarf clan. You run up. What happens as you approach this dwarf and as he's like stumbling through the snow, you get your clawed hand on this dwarf's body?
He staggers back and feels himself suddenly caught and set to rights by Kovack, who's appeared behind them. And she sees that they can't look around and see anything, so she just purrs in their ear. You should know better than to come after someone like me. I'll send whoever sent you your regards. And as she hits him with inflict wounds, she's going to use, just sort of for flavor, her hat of disguise to turn into that person as they drop.
Oh, that's messed up.
Oh my
That's so
God.
messed up.
Incredible. You all, oh my God. So you rush forward, cast that inflict, boom. You watch his ghost fly out of his body, just like his spirit, and dissipates into light. That is incredible. The other dwarf hears that, feels his companion die, and no, he's not bothered with these gnolls. Sprints into the forest to flee forever. He's just gone. He just screams and flees. That's Kovack. Graeth, that's you.
Absolutely.
Yes. Hell yeah. Graeth, that is going to be your turn as we come back to you in the initiative order.
Are there any right on top of me? I'm going to belch poison right in its face.
Yes, absolutely. There's 3 right on top.
Oh, this is a cone, right? Poison on all of them.
Incredible. Go ahead and roll 2d6 poison damage for me.
I love and hate everything you do so much.
7
So
points.
gross, but so good.
7 points of poison.
Oh my God.
I'm not a lot of fun at parties, but I have my uses.
The gnolls scream in terror as you belch noxious gas that just erodes their skin from their face.
There's bugs in it.
Of course.
Little immune to poison bugs. Incredible. Moving from there, Tuna, that's you.
Anything else that needs to be dealt with?
I'm going to. Here's the thing. Every single gnoll here is on death's door. I'm going to roll an overall check for these. There is no one here that is above half health, and half of them are dead. I just rolled a nat 4 on their resolve check. The gnolls fully surrender. They're intelligent creatures. They see which way the wind is blowing. They drop to the ground going, there's been some kind of misunderstanding. And the Arctic fox goes like, yeah, that's right. There has been some kind of misunderstanding. And you are victorious. Yes. As you return to the Great Knucklehead Rally, all of the other quests have all of this time bought for them, as the giants can no longer make it on their mounts and must instead take the hours it will take to approach on foot. I will also say that in terms of Kovack's problem with this dwarven criminal enterprise, it occurs to me that a enforcer of the guild does return from the wood line, saying whatever Kovack would like to say as that enforcer.
How do dwarves sound? Oh, oof, super. She's there, dead. Got him. I got him. And she actually tosses her own cloak at them as proof, or her fur coat.
Nice. The elder member of the Kagra Kovack goes, very good. I am glad that this debt is settled. Now for me to cross off this debt in our big book where we keep track of all the debts.
She starts to purr a little bit.
You make a cat noise. You're a really fucked up guy, Sergey. To make impression of the person you just killed, really fucked up, man. I like you. You have good style. Your debt is crossed off. You guys, the Verbeeg are fended off, with time for Randé to still have a rage left over to compete in his bare knuckle boxing match. The cheers of the crowd roar up around you. Roussimoff, you get signed to a new deal. Tuna, your marvelous armor. Flying colors in your first big field test for this new arcane armor. You see Graeth fires abound for you to warm yourself and your fungal entities here, and as well as feeling a connection with a song based on you that you hear on the lips of everyone here, singing about Graeth's dark fungal majesty.
I'm gonna make that t-shirt that says "The Cure Wounds."
The only thing at the end of the day is Krina comes up with hefty bags of treasure to all of you after your big victorious day. It goes, so we wanted to reward this to all of you, but there have been a number of items that have gone missing all over the camp, and before I reward it, I'm wondering if you have any idea about who this might be or who might be behind it.
Oh, there's actually, I saw a really suspicious looking tabaxi earlier, sort of orangish. I mean, he was skulking around this gold-colored tent over there. He just looked really, really sketchy.
All heads turn over to Bryce and his gang of rogues. You see that his, sort of southern, very, dashing, harem pants are completely spherical, jangling with metallic goods. As he goes, why is everyone looking at me? You see Krina says, hey, nab that thief! And he sprints with scepters and rods and magical rings just falling out of his pants. I didn't do it! Whatever she said, she's lying! You see that Krina says, thanks for the hot tip there, love. You're a good friend of the festival whenever it happens. Drinks on the house for these 6 heroes of the Great Knucklehead Rally, and I hope you feel that you have been paid in earnest. Drops a boatload of treasure in front of all of you, and the 6 of you enjoy a marvelous rest of your festival here in the heart of Icewind Dale.
Yay!
That's all. That's all for us, gang. That's all for us. We have there is another game coming up after us, but I am stalling for a second because I don't have the thing in front of me that lets me know what the thing is. Do we know what the... Oh my God, Omega Jones, of course. Gang, Omega Jones, aka the Critical Bard, will be running What It Means to Be a Bard. Go check him out. And there's a bunch of amazing panelists talking about our favorite, all of our favorite charisma-based caster. Please go ahead and check out the panel. It'll be a dang hoot. And thank you all for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.